Is that part of what this is about? Like you're wanting to say I love you, but you want him to say it first?
It could be that. It could be that. God, he said that he was going to listen to this. Like, I don't want him to listen to this.
Hello, and welcome to the Fuck Suffering Podcast. I'm your hostess, Rei Hance, and on this podcast, we do an I Ching reading for our guests from my book, Oracle of Emergence and Evolutionary I Ching. And then the conversation unfolds from there. Sometimes it actually unfolds quite a bit before we even get to the reading. Today's guest brought a great question that brought a lot of great subjects to the fore, like layers of trust, welcoming discomfort, non-orgasmic sex, saying I love you first. That's a risky business. Betrayal, external validation, trusting life, surprise gay husbands, love bombing, boundaries, the destructive power of expectations, and the freedom of disappointing your parents as an adult. Thanks for being with us. And what is our guest question for the I Ching this week? How can I best work with the fear of loss? So you're coming in hot with a burning question, is that right?
I think so. I think it's burning.
What's your question today?
So, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to be uncomfortable with, like I want to be okay with it, and I'm very much not okay with it. Does that make sense?
It does. Can you say a little bit more about that to give us some context before we go into the I Ching?
Yes. So like uncomfortable conversations, I avoid them at all costs because I just don't like the way that it makes my guts feel. I don't like to set boundaries, which I've actively been trying to work on. I think that I have grown immensely emotionally over the last, I would say, probably about like 2 years. But what I still struggle with is the discomfort of conversation and boundaries.
Is there a particular point for you where it was really dangerous to be disapproved of?
I think that that's always been something that I've kind of battled with. I don't like to, I guess I've always been a people pleaser. So I've always been like a doormat, if that makes sense, because I don't like the feeling of disapproval at all. And it's kind of something that I grew up with, I would say. Mm-hmm.
So was it ever actually dangerous to be disapproved of? Physically dangerous?
No, never physically. As far as no, I don't think physically dangerous. No, just uncomfortable.
Okay. You were married, right?
I was.
And so how did the people pleasing work out in that relationship?
So I have kind of a unique situation. Well, maybe it's not so unique anymore, but when I was married, I'll just tell you what happened. So my ex-husband is gay, I think. Mm-hmm. So I found that out the hard way, kind of like online with, it was, I found that, there was quite a betrayal of, I found it online, like pictures and things like that. So did you have any idea? I did. So I was shocked by what I saw. I was not surprised. So leading up to that, I had always tried to, I knew that there was something always off. So I had always tried to make up for that. And
in what way?
I think that just, let's see, how can I explain how?
Were you feeling sexual rejection?
Well, yes, yes. But it was more than, there was just like a disconnect that I was trying to, there was like a void, I guess, that I was always trying to over the top fill that void. And it was exhausting. So yeah. So when
exhausting. Yeah.
It was. So it was that, that shock took a long time to wear off. We're great friends now, because everybody has their journey. I would never fault him for that ever. So we've remained great friends. But then that, to make up for that void, I kind of carried it with me throughout I was just in a slew of really crappy relationships. And, so the relationship that I'm in now is awesome. I'm just terrified of not having any kind of like conversation. And, it just makes me feel so uncomfortable. So I'm trying to get comfortable with the discomfort, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So is there an example in your current relationship of a conversation that you don't want to have that you have to have?
I mean, not really, because we're great. You know what I mean? There's just, it hasn't been very long. So there's not really, it's been, well, I guess 8 months. We've known each other almost a year. So 8 months is, it's new, but I am fearful of talking about feelings. And it's so weird. Like I would love to tell him all of the things that I'm feeling about him. And I literally I clam up and no words will come out of my mouth. I'm very good at communicating other things. And it's when it comes to hard feeling stuff, I just clam up and I am completely just uncomfortable.
What's hard about those feelings? It sounds like you're wanting to communicate kind of soft feelings.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe it's just a low key fear of rejection. I don't know if I don't really know where it's coming from.
Do you think it could be a fear of intimacy?
Maybe. I mean, we get along so great.
Well, there's a difference between getting along and deepening an intimacy.
So maybe, yeah. I mean, I guess it could be. I'm not opposed to it in any way. I'm not opposed to intimacy at all.
So there's a lot of parts of you that you're not letting him see yet. Is that right?
Yeah, that might be possible. Yeah, I think so. I think that's true.
So are those parts of you that you like at all, or?
They're parts of me that I wish were stronger. You know what I mean? Like just being able to tell him, that I think he's terrific and that I think that he, we've never talked about like the future or anything like that. So I'm just kind of like waiting for him when really I shouldn't have to, I should be able to be like, hey, this is kind of how I'm feeling. Like, are we on the same page? And I just am kind of in.
Oh, well, asking for, to define a relationship is different from telling somebody what you love about them.
That's true. Also, that's
so
true.
Which is the one that's uncomfortable for you?
Maybe asking about defining the relationship might be a little bit more difficult for me because I'll tell him all day how great he is, actually.
Do you tell him specifically?
What? That I think he's great.
Like, what's terrific about him? What do you love about him?
He is, he's like me, but like a guy version of me. Like we're so alike. So I'm wondering, is he so much like me that he's having the same kind of battle with his emotions that I am, and that's why we're not having these conversations? You know what I mean? Like maybe that could be why.
We missed the part. What do you specifically love about him?
Oh my God! We did get away from that. So he's an amazing father. He has been through some crap like I have. And he's there with his 2 kids full time. It's very nice to see. He's a great dad. He's funny. He's just so kind and genuine. Mm-hmm. And he is just very like no filter kind of, but in a good way. You know what I mean? He doesn't mind having, if somebody, I don't really know how to explain it. He basically just says what's on his mind, which is attractive. I don't know emotionally if he does that, but he'll do it like that's kind of when it counts, isn't it? yeah. And I love his consistency. This has been the most consistent relationship that I've ever had. Like he'll never break plans. He's always there. So we've been seeing each other it'll be 8 months officially, but we've been seeing each other since April. And every week, we go to the same pizza place and we have pizza every week. Like it's just kind of like our thing. So, the consistency is really, really nice. I've never had that before.
Is that similar sexually, the pattern?
That also is terrific. I could say, yes.
So you are are you able to communicate, discomfort or like where you're at, or is it or is it orgasmically focused sex?
Yeah, we're pretty much on the same page there, as far as
that it's orgasm.
That is, yeah.
So is there space in your sexual arena for more like open play that doesn't have a goal? Or is it like, let's get in there and make each other come?
It's definitely been both. So yeah.
I think it's important to check in with that because like sometimes when there's like that goal, like some of that, some of those beautiful and like more spacious moments where there is like awkwardness or the risk of boredom, like you discover things in those spaces that you don't discover if you're goal oriented.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? And like opening up that space for goallessness can be actually like an incredible way to develop more intimacy and make it easier. And make it easier to have those conversations that you're talking about, those uncomfortable conversations.
That's true. Yeah.
Because you build a sort of spaciousness into your intimacy where there's not a thing that you're doing.
Right.
Like sometimes making each other come can be like, become like this thing that you're doing. And
that's true.
Doing this thing, you know what I mean? And I bring this up because you're talking about like, oh, I don't know how to have these intimate conversations.
Right.
Like I'm struggling with the comfort of that. Sometimes being able to do it from the physical side is an easier way in.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes total sense actually. Yeah.
So what, like, how would you boil down your question for the I Ching today? The most succinct version of what you're asking about this.
I'm not sure exactly how to word it. I guess it's just how I can just, am I going to be able to kind of like move past, you know, the discomfort of these situations, and am I going to, I don't know how to exactly word it to a question.
What's under it? What's under it? Where does it feel uncomfortable in your body when these things come up? What's being risked? What are you afraid of?
I think loss. I think loss, you know, like losing.
Loss of power or loss of love?
Loss of, I guess it must be loss of love. I think that's really what it is. I avoid these uncomfortable conversations because if I rock the boat, I could be changing it. So you know what I mean? I could.
Well, it's going to change. It's going to change over time. Yeah,
it does. But so even though I have this, you know, deep feeling to want to communicate what I'm feeling, I'm also very much afraid to rock the boat, so I don't. And then that makes me like I kind of am just walking around ruminating instead of just spitting out what I have to say.
Okay, so what's the unlovable part of you that you're afraid to have him see again?
I think I'm just afraid that if I speak about how I'm feeling, it's not going to be matched. And then there's this fear of rejection. There's this fear of, you know, just a fear of loss.
Okay.
That, you know, I'm having a hard time. So I'm not really sure how to form that, I think, into a question.
What about how can I best work with this fear of loss?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to have you have your 3 coins?
I do.
Great. I'm going to have you hold those 3 coins in your hand and just feel your question in your hands. Like almost like feel the coins with that same tension that comes up when you don't want to have a difficult conversation. Like feel what it feels like, this thing that's behind your question, and just right in your hands. Like, oh, yeah. Okay, here's the energy of this situation. Let me just put it into these coins. And then like, we'll have you gently shake the coins in your hands, and you're going to throw all 3 coins 6 times. And you're going to tell me how many, and you're going to tell me how many heads and how many tails each time you throw them. But just relax, land in your feet, bring the energy down out of your head into your hands and feet, and just take a moment to really like feel the stakes of this question for you. Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. So 6 times, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, this could not be more lovely. So you have 11 going into 46. So 11 is confluence and 46 is the geyser. So both of these are like emotional, like are water things that have a lot of, that have that like cups suit from the tarot, sort of like emotional flow and emotional, a lot of emotional power, actually. So, and confluence, I think of as sort of the cosmic love hexagram, like the way that the forces kind of come, the way 2 rivers come together, and like the way those forces join, right? So let's read you from confluence. This is a hexagram of a powerful, fluid, effortless union. 2 rivers don't force confluence. They naturally emerge from their mutual flow. Not 1, not 2. The flow of energy can be seen in water, but it's not just water. Water makes energy visible. In a personal sense, the heart, mind, and body join forces entering the stream together. They amplify and complement each other's power. Step into the stream and feel it on your skin. Let it permeate you. Feel how light you are here. Feel how you float. Allow yourself to be held by invisible forces. Open your body to dissolve your body. Give it to the river. Enter the stream. Have you ever heard the Nina Simone's version of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands? Have you ever heard that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's what this hexagram feels like. It's a reminder that you're not in control, but you do have a choice around how much you're willing to surrender.
Okay.
I'm going to repeat that.
Uh-huh.
You're not in control. Your choice here is how willing you are to surrender.
Okay.
This is a love hexagram, not formal love, more like boundless love. The two trigrams that make up this hexagram are heaven under earth, the union of heaven and earth, two people who are magnetically drawn together without knowing why. From within them is a clear, clean union of polarities from which all life can emerge. This is bigger than you and lets you feel bigger than you thought you could be. The freedom of love becoming itself between you. How much love can you hold and be held by? How much do you resist the flow? Stepping into the confluence will make this clear. This coming together is perhaps just for a moment, but it's a primal moment. Not everyone can abide a primal moment long enough to make it an actual relationship. And not everyone can abide discomfort long enough to make it an intimate conversation.
Yeah.
Still, they stand at the confluence. All self-consciousness drops away. This is a state of being. It's also a skill. When you step into the stream, you become part of the confluence. No separation. Can you allow yourself to feel connected to all that is as the rivers join in you? Can you feel the water outside your skin meeting the water inside your every cell? Can you honor your body as a materialization of the confluence? Feel the gush match your own pulse and flow. So how does that land for you?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly makes sense as far as, I'm not really sure how to put in words what I'm trying to say, but it definitely resonates with me. That's for sure.
Okay.
You know, I'm processing. It's taking me a second to process.
There's the end. It says now the rivers flush out whatever resistance remains in you.
Yeah.
If your question is about a relationship, keep going. Don't try to staunch the flow. There's nothing to defend here and no one to rescue.
Okay.
So how does that fear of discomfort, is there any relationship between that and defense?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm trying to, I'm trying to process and make the connection. And I definitely, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of like,
if you were undefended, would you be able to have that conversation?
If I was undefended, I think so. Yeah. Like this, see, and this is exactly what I mean. Like I'm trying to, like my guts are starting to feel uncomfortable. Like I'm going to speak wrong or something. And I'm feeling the discomfort like right now because I'm trying to like, yeah. So I'm like trying to process, I guess, my thoughts on how that's making me feel. But it's like a wall and I literally can't make words. If that makes sense.
Let's stop and go back to 3 more breaths where the exhale is longer than the inhale.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now. That's what we're going to do. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Take a nice long inhale and then let the exhale be longer. Let all that chaos drop out of your head and into your body. Let all of that energy that's starting to tip over into anxiety drop into your body. Let it feel thick and warm, soothing. Let it slip past your heart, coating your heart, moving down through your solar plexus, filling your belly, filling your pelvic bowl, filling your hips, knees, ankles, filling your feet, surrounding every tiny little foot bone, seeping out of the bottoms of your feet, the soles of your feet, all the way down to the center of the earth. Okay. Just stay there, and I'm going to read your transforming lines that bring hexagram 11 into hexagram 46.
Okay.
The traditional image is of pulling up grass and realizing you can't just pull one blade of grass up by the root without gathering a chunk of sod. There's a sense of the interconnectedness of all things here. Those flowing together are indeed of like kind. Different blades, same grass, different bodies and tangled roots. People with deep affinities of values and virtue. You are connected to deeply resonant beings growing upward together like the grasses of the field. Pull out what is not resonant, and you'll find that comes out whole in clods too. So there's something here about, honestly, this whole section is about trust.
Mm. Yeah. I trust. I definitely.
Do you think so?
Maybe superficially, I trust. I on the surface trust. I don't know if in the relationship that I'm currently in, I have 100% trust in that.
What part of it? You just trust that he's not gonna sleep with somebody else? What does trust mean?
Yeah. So
what else is trust?
So I guess I think that's what I meant, like superficially. Like I know he's not going to cheat on me. You know what I mean?
You don't really know that.
Well, I don't really know that. I trust that.
So where else?
But I guess, yeah. So I think that trust maybe can have many layers. Mm-hmm. So on that front, I definitely do have trust in that. I trying to put it in words, how I'm feeling. I
take your time.
Yeah. So I definitely have, basic trust. Am I trusting that, like my feelings kind of are matching his feelings. Yeah, I don't.
Do they have to? Do they have to for your relationship to be successful?
I mean, they don't have to, no.
What do matching feelings mean? What do you mean by that?
I think I just want, I don't know if it's, well, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
There's definitely that.
Uh-huh. Have you told each other you love each other yet? No. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that helps put things in context a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. We have that.
Is that part of what this is about? Like you're wanting to say, I love you, but you want him to say it first?
It could be that. It could be that. God, he said that he was going to listen to this. Like, I don't want him to listen to this.
Well, I have a cue, so this one actually won't be out until April. So you're so hopefully you'll have said it by then.
Seriously. Oh, no. This was then. We're good now. So I think,
you wanted to tell him you love him?
Desperately. Yes.
Okay.
And so I have been in relationships before where I was just immediately right off the bat love bombs immediately, like to the point where it's red flags on me. Mm-hmm. So, that's almost like what I'm used to, I'm like, it's been only a month. Why isn't he saying he loves me yet? You know what I mean? Like it's literally how it's been for me. So I think that I've also been having to like acclimate myself to this new, healthier relationship that does not have red flags. Like,
oh, that's fun.
So, yeah. So I think maybe.
No, it's an adjustment to like have all the razzle dazzle drama.
It is.
It's a big shift to move out of manipulation into intimacy.
Yes. Yes. That's so true. That's so true. So yeah, I think that, overall, I do trust, like I said, like superficially, I do have that trust. But
do you trust you? Do you trust you? What holds you? What's the source of your trust in yourself?
I do have trust in myself. I know, because I know that when I'm having a gut feeling or like a intuition or something, I do not ignore it. So I trust myself to act on that. If something's not right, I trust myself enough to know that,
What if that action would be displeasing to other people?
I guess that would depend, because it really does. Like, it kind of like depends on who it is. Mm-hmm. But
what level of disapproval causes you to betray yourself?
I have. Well, there's a small handful of people that I have an enormously hard time saying no, or I don't know if it's so much like I guess it is a disapproval. I don't want them to be upset with my decision. So I guess, that is disapproval. So it's
why. How come those people have that power? What role do they play in your life?
Well, one specifically is my mother, and my mom and my dad, they were married for 40 years. They recently split up, and my mom kind of, washed her hands of the entire marriage, and it fell into my lap. So I have to help it's crazy. So I have to help my dad financially and things like that. So I have a ton of things, that I'm trying to do my best, I guess. And I don't, so my dad is another one of those people. I don't want him to be upset with me,
what would he,
it's crazy. I know. It's just,
okay. So let me see if I'm hearing you right. Your parents' disapproval would cause you to ignore your intuition. If you felt
I think
that.
So. Yeah. Okay. I think so, because I know what I should be doing. And
who determines that? So it's not your intuition determining that, it's somebody else's expectations?
Yeah. I know in my guts what the right thing to do and to say to my parents is, I just don't do it. I don't know if I'm just not doing it for the sake of, I don't know if it's so much disapproval as it is even just to kind of keep the peace. So I'm suffering for it.
Whose peace? Whose peace?
Everybody else's peace but my own.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally been the story of my life. It's everybody else's peace and fuck mine. That's
what do you get out of continuing to play that role?
I don't like this role. I don't want to play, peacekeeper anymore. So that, that's why I think that's
how come you keep doing it?
I feel like it's almost like I don't have a choice, so nobody did. So maybe this is kind of circling back to, I don't trust myself.
Do you want a choice?
Yeah. I mean, yes, because if I had another choice, I would take whatever that is versus, the crap that I'm dealing with now.
Well, who's keeping you from that choice? Your mom apparently felt like she had a choice to completely dump the marriage and your dad into your lap.
It's true.
So how come you don't have a choice like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I should definitely have a choice like that. Yeah, I most definitely should. And I guess I do. I just haven't figured out how to make it a choice, if that makes sense. I guess the right thing to do would say, no, this is your responsibility. This was your marriage. This was all your crap. These are your bills, not mine.
Your parents are both mentally sound?
Well, my dad, I would say more so than possibly my mom. Yeah, I think that my mom, she's been through some serious trauma in her life. So I think that's taken a little bit of a toll on her. But as far as overall health,
I meant more like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Oh, no. They're good. They're good.
Okay. So you're not like a
caretaker or anything like that. No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, they're able-bodied. They are absolutely able-bodied and in charge of their own. My mom moved out, got her own apartment, and just kind of left me and my kids to pick up those pieces, which
Okay.
Her choice, that she did what she needed to do for herself. That's great.
And wait, why did you have to pick up those pieces?
So my dad lives right downstairs from me. I have my apartment upstairs with my 2 kids, and now it's basically just one big house. There's no separation whatsoever. And since I'm here,
whose choice is that?
That's also has been mine, because I've been terrible at boundaries. So that has been, you know, I'm really actively trying, but it's.
What are you actively trying to do? It sounds like you're squandering so much of your life force energy rescuing everyone else so that you feel like a good person, that you're actually where's the energy left for you to try to do anything?
Yeah, there's not a lot. It gets depleted.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly. Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds like there are a lot of demands on your life force that are not being replenished, and nobody seems very concerned with your replenishment. And I'm not sure why you aren't.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody is. And I think lately I'm starting to really realize, because of everything that I've been through personally, and it's like, I've just, come out of really heavy shit. And now I have to take on everybody else's heavy shit.
Wait, say that again.
Just that I've been through some really heavy shit.
And what came after that?
And now I'm taking on everybody else's heavy shit.
That's different from what you said. You said, I have to take on everybody else's heavy shit. You don't.
Yeah. No, that's true. I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't. So that's where the discomfort is, where, I'm making the choice to take on the shit and squandering, like you said, my own life force. I do that all the time. And I think, so I just have to make the other choice to not do that. And I think that's,
I wouldn't say, I don't think making the choice not to do that is as clear as the choice that you would be making.
Yeah.
The choice not to do something. Like, what are you choosing to do? What does it look, what you are choosing to do look like?
Yes. So I don't know what that was. So what the choice that I want to make and would be to basically tell them, again, to just deal with their own crap and let me deal with, what my own, and separate that completely, just kind of cut it off of me. That's the choice that I want to be making, that I should be making, to just cut that all off of me.
Telling people where your skin is, just like, this is my skin over here. There's your skin over there. You're responsible for your own skin over there.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, the idea that it has to be either you're completely being engulfed by other people's stuff and needs, or that you have to cut it all off. Because I think you're so embedded in the good girl paradigm, that for you, I think cutting it off would be hard for you to sustain.
Yeah.
So having a more gradual sense of just reclaiming your own skin and your own personhood might be more tenable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I feel like if I did just completely cut that off, that wouldn't sit either. So yeah, I agree.
So I think this discomfort around boundaries and this discomfort about having intimate conversations is connected. And like that piece that you're bringing in about about being love bombed early in other relationships, there's nothing that draws in a narcissist more than somebody with no boundaries.
Yeah.
And actually, a narcissist has no power over somebody with them. Nothing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Every narcissist has a person standing behind them who has no boundaries.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they can't do that.
And that's accurate. And it's been one after the other. It was just one right after the other. So
in what ways do you replenish yourself? So how do you replenish?
I don't think I do. I don't know that I do. I was very proud of myself. I joined a gym recently so I could start doing something for myself, which is wildly out of my comfort zone to go and do something like that by myself.
Is it so? What parts outside your comfort zone? Doing something for yourself or by yourself?
I guess probably both. I would say that's probably. I'm kind of okay with doing things alone, but it's more like a. I don't like being on the spot. So a gym is always somewhere where, I always just considered being on the spot,
Because you think people are staring at you, or?
I just feel like it just makes me feel weird. It just makes me feel.
In your body, how does the discomfort in the gym compare to the discomfort in an intimate conversation?
Are
they in similar places at all, or?
They're in a similar place. Okay. I think they're it's kind of always that like the yucky butterflies, not the nice butterflies, the
nausea butterflies.
It's like the yucky ones that are.
Well, why do they have to be nice? Yucky? They're just like churning butter, just like every other fly.
Yeah. And so when I walked into the gym last time, when I went in there, I realized that I had them and I said, no, turn them into better ones and be excited about this because you're doing something for yourself. So I was glad about that. And I powered through it and I went and I had a great time and I felt like $1 million when I walked out of there. So I think that once I start, really getting into it and really doing it, that'll help me replenish.
Because so getting back to your second hexagram in this I Ching reading, there is this sense that if you let go of all of the mental routines about disappointing people and saving people and rescuing people and fixing people's problems. And you work that's like your actual job is fixing people's problems, right?
Yeah, that's my literal job. Yeah.
That is so much how you're wired. So I want to respect that, part of your nature. And then also really invite you to parse when that becomes squandering and when that becomes more about external validation than your essence.
Mm-hmm.
Can you feel that difference in your body?
I think so. Yeah, I think I can.
Because there's so much beautiful energy in this reading. This 11 confluence is so loving and so natural and so things just coming to flowing together in ways that are so much bigger than could have felt possible, possible when the stream is trickling down up the mountain. And then all of a sudden when the confluence happens, you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Right.
And 46 is really similar. I'm going to read you a little bit of 46 because it's a similar thing. It's if you can get out of the way with some of this external validation, some of the the good girl identity.
Yeah.
If you can just let go of that a little bit and that that it's actually okay to be disapproved of. It's okay to be disliked.
Right.
If you're really in your essence, not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
And if you're shutting down, so you're only operating on like half an octave, people are going to be fairly indifferent to you because they're never going to really see you.
Right.
So like ultimately there's a lot of benefit in just showing up as you really are, because then you'll find out who your real people are. So you won't have a bunch of people around you that are just like hanging on because they know you'll do stuff for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who really respect you and respect the full range of your humanity, including your need for replenishment.
Yeah.
So this is the 46 geyser. The gathering of forces underground over time propels the effortless rise of the geyser. Like the geyser, you are visibly realized. Up from underground, you can and should be seen. If you do not allow yourself to be pushed upward, you will experience these surging forces as anxiety. Don't pathologize the surge. Move with it. Don't try to cap it. You can't. It's a gift, even if it's not one you asked for. The fountain of life force pushes out at the top of your head and cascades back down, enveloping you, a fluid monument. See great people, do great things. Follow the ascending force running through you from beyond you. Touch stars. Touch the sky to pull yourself up from the ground rather than pushing down to come up. This is a time of ascent. The geyser's forces are shaped over eons. The oak takes years to grow mighty from the nut. What looks obvious today is the result of great forces building over broad swaths of time. The key here is that greater forces are pressing you into an upward trajectory like the elements coalesce to form the geyser. A geyser is not a thing unto itself, but rather a convergence of forces, just like you. Like the sudden insight that comes after long practice. This is a potent time to embark on a new project. The geyser's range is enormous. It comes from the depths and meets the sky. This gives you some idea of what's possible now.
I like that. I like that.
Anything you do to be like, oh, I'm afraid. Oh, what if I say I love you and he doesn't say I love you back, or worse, as happened to me once, he says thank you.
Ooh. No.
Hey, I went through that experience and I'm still here. So
yeah,
you're much worse. You know, the worst disaster here is still not really a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And the long-term disaster is you capping that flow of your actual essence.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this one really, I really like this one. I like the ascent. I like the like what you said, the capping. And kind of like letting it go. And I really liked this one. Yeah, definitely.
and that's what's enveloping. The second hexagram is what's enveloping the whole situation. So right now you're in a more like two rivers meeting and you trusting that kind of situation. Yeah. But the thing all around this is your fundamental power, that everything that's coming through you is, you don't have to generate all that force.
Yeah.
You can allow that force to come through you too.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't have to push and push and push and push. If what you can allow isn't enough, then it's time to really start looking at boundaries.
Yeah.
Where is that energy going where it doesn't really need to be? Where are you actually depriving someone of the opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet? Where are you doing more harm than good with the rescuer tendencies?
I think I'm doing more harm than good on myself than anybody else. Definitely. I think it's, I'm not getting anything out of it except exhaustion, and everybody else is. So I think that,
and you get to stay in this identity.
And you
get to keep it. So how much do you want to keep it? Is it worth the rental price that you're paying on this identity?
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And, I want to, definitely get to a point where I feel okay with not having that identity, like
which part of it?
I'd rather not have it. Just, the rescuer, I guess the good girl, I want to have boundaries. I want to tell people, no, I want to.
Can you actually say, I want to disappoint people?
I mean,
can you say it?
Yeah. I just want to disappoint people all the time. It's fine. That was really hard.
You were we're grimacing. I want to disappoint some people today.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Can't wait to see how they react.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. Yeah. There are some people that only are in my life for my yes.
Yeah, that's so accurate. That's yeah. And I think that might also be part of it. If there's people in my life that are just in it for the yes, I don't want to see who that is.
You don't want to.
Yeah. Right. It's
because you'd be better off with that knowledge.
That is very true. That is very true.
Painful.
Yeah. There's a small handful of people that I think would be on that list. That would be
girl. You already know who's on that.
I already know. I do know who's on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but if
that's
you start
true.
Going around disappointing people, you'll find out right quick. That'll be crystal fucking clear.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Start disappointing people. Liberate yourself.
Yeah, this is the most helpful. Absolutely. I'm just gonna go around disappointing people every day now.
I would love to hear your progress report on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, sorry.
Even you just saying it is a huge leap.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, on that note, thank you so much. This is really
fun. Thank you. This was fun and super helpful. I appreciate it.
Good. Awesome. I'm glad. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Fuck Suffering podcast today. I'm Rei Hance, and you can find out about being a guest on the podcast, doing a one-on-one with me, or joining one of my Fuck Suffering practice groups at reihance.com, REIHANCE.com. If you're interested in the book that I use for readings on this podcast, it's called Oracle of Emergence, an Evolutionary I Ching, and it's available on Amazon. And if you would like to help us expand our reach, which would be lovely, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, we really can't fuck suffering until we trust suffering. And in a wild existential kink, we are all in that together.